Good Tuesday evening. Welcome to Spicer & Company, live from our New York City newsroom. I'm Sean Spicer. Lindsay has the night off. Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released the Consumer Price Index for the month of November this morning. It showed that prices rose 0.1% from the previous month and increased 7.1% from a year ago. Those figures were both lower than the 0.3% monthly increase and the 7.3% that economists had expected. This morning at the White House, President Biden spoke after the release of the report, and here's what he had to say.
Make no mistake, prices are still too high. We have a lot more work to do, but things are getting better, headed in the right direction.
Now, look, the president, of course, is trying his best to put a positive spin on this. But even though the figures showed that inflation did ease a little bit more than expected, 7.1 is not a good number. Not at all. Economists say that 2% is what they expect good inflation to be. So we're way off of where we should be. Inflation remains uncomfortably high for millions of you out there. Consumers on a daily basis are paying more than they can afford for essentials like groceries, oil, electricity to heat their home, gas to heat their tanks, to, whether it's your home heating oil or your car. The president is still telling us to believe him over our wallets.
Most Americans can see the progress driving down the street, finding relief at the pump as gas prices fall. Gas prices are now lower than they were a year ago, and half the gas stations selling gas at $3.09 or less.
See, that's interesting. Half the gas, that's like very Washington Weasley, isn't it? Half the gas stations are less. Well, what does that mean? Because the national average for a gallon of gas is actually $3.25 today. That's $3.25. He was trying to make it seem like it's $3.09, which it's not. It's nearly 85 cents more per gallon than January 20th, 2021, the day he took office. But he's trying to twist all the words there so you think he's doing a really good job, which he's not. With the risk of recession still high, tomorrow the Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates for the 7th time this year. It's a move that will further increase the cost of borrowing for all of us. If you have a credit card, a home loan, an adjustable rate, it's going to cost us more. And if you're a business, it's going to cost you just as much as well. We're talking about probably a 0.5 percentage point hike. Now, we've been seeing 0.75% basis points each of the last 4 meetings. So maybe that's not as much, but we're still talking about, in January, another at least quarter point. So this is not good. They're still trying to slow this thing down. So as I said, if you've got one of these loans out there, you're really feeling it on both ends. And if that's not bad enough, government spending, which is arguably one of the biggest culprits of today's inflation crisis, is getting worse. That's not stopping Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. They're pushing for more radical spending right now. Congress is facing a government shutdown this Friday if lawmakers don't find a deal. But new reports say that there could be a breakthrough. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell told reporters just a short time ago that negotiators are very close to agreeing on an omnibus spending package. What does that mean? It means that they're going to wrap all the spending for the next fiscal year in one big package, give it a ton of increase, and try to pass it. Now, they know they can't do it right now, so they'll pass a short-term deal, and then they'll do this. But as early as this morning, Republican Senators Rick Scott and Mike Lee were pushing back, saying it would be a dereliction of duty to allow Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi to force another reckless bill through. Because they get it. They know that Republicans are about to take control of the House. So they want a continuing resolution to maintain levels until the new year when Republicans take control. It makes sense. But McConnell says he's very close to getting this omnibus that could be, quote, broadly appealing. Broadly appealing to whom? I don't understand. To people who want to spend a lot more, who want to borrow a lot more? I don't think that that's broadly appealing unless you're a big spending Democrat. Unbelievable. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But these Republicans in the Senate who are pushing back, including Ron Johnson, who was on the show yesterday, deserve credit and backup. Call them, email them, say thank you, keep fighting. Because we shouldn't cut a deal with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and spend more money that we don't have. The Republicans are coming into power in January. Make a short-term deal and then let them do their job. In other news, the disgraced founder of the collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX was supposed to be testifying at a House hearing today, but just hours before he was supposed to testify, Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO that used to run the exchange, was arrested in the Bahamas on charges he defrauded investors out of nearly $2 billion. So just to be clear, the day before he's scheduled to testify, he gets indicted by the Biden U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. Really? Tell me about that. His opening testimony had already been given to Congress, and in the opening line, he admits that he, quote, effed up. This would have been epic. All of these lawmakers would have been to question him. Why did he give donations? Why was he such a big donor? What did he expect with that money? How did he run the company? Why was it so mismanaged? Congressman Brian Stile from Wisconsin, who sits on the Financial Services Committee and was supposed to be questioning, will be with us in just a short time, and I'm going to ask him what he would have asked him and what he thinks is really going on. By the way, as President Biden and his administration continue to ignore the crisis on the southern border, Border Patrol says an average of 2,400 immigrants are legally crossing into Texas per day, and they're sounding the alarm, calling the surge unsustainable. By the way, they're now bracing for the end of the Trump-era pandemic policy known as Title 42 that has kept a lot of them out. It's one of the last policies that's in place that allows the quick expulsion of illegal immigrants. So when this ends in 8 days, you cannot even dream of how bad the crisis is going to get. I've heard a lot of people use the word catastrophic, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. Think about how many people are being kept out, how many drugs, how many traffickers, how many criminals. Yeah, that's all happening. Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne from Texas is going to join us in a short time. I'm going to talk to her about that. By the way, the president keeps saying that he's too busy to visit the border. But of course, we know that's not true. Just check out his daily calendar. It's public. Oftentimes it's empty, or it just has one or two events. But today he did have something besides his intel briefing on it. Less than an hour ago, he signed the Respect for Marriage Act into law at a White House ceremony. The law passed Congress with the support of 12 Republicans in the Senate and 39 Republicans in the House. It officially codifies gay marriage into law. As you know, if you watch this show regularly, many critics that we've had on warn that this will be a major threat to our religious liberties. So we, of course, will be keeping an eye out for how this falls out and any effect that it does have on our liberties. Don't worry, we'll keep it up. But coming up next, the mainstream media is largely ignoring the Twitter files while cherry-picking which aspects of the story they actually deem worthy of coverage. We're going to show you how they shape their own narrative. Peter Schweitzer joins us after the break. Stay tuned.